Let's start first with another big day and another big city fine, because this time the FSA is cracking down on the French bank Société Générale. There is more bad news for the world's biggest economy. Now sales of new homes in the United States are falling as well. And a 70% rise in profits for the mining giant BHP Billiton as global demand for commodities continues to soar. We start first with the news that the city regulator, the Financial Services Authority, has dished out a big money fine for the second day in a row. It's imposed a penalty on the London branch of the French bank Société Générale of £1.5 million for failing to give accurate reports of transactions. The FSA says the offences took place over a 2-year period. Yesterday, it slapped a £2.3 million fine on Zurich Insurance. That's the highest penalties ever levied on a single firm for data security failings. The FSA is due to be scrapped under new plans by the Tories. Well, we've been hearing the reasons for its sudden get tough approach.
I think the issue is that what's happening here is everybody's saying what caused the financial crisis? What caused the financial crisis was banks doing things they shouldn't be doing or not doing things they should be doing. And I think the FSA, forced by public opinion, and indeed this is being replicated in the States with the other regulators, are saying to banks, enough is enough. We expect you to stick to the rules, and if you don't stick to the rules, we're going to come down very hard on you.
I suppose it does say a great deal about the mindset of those who are running these institutions, and in spite of everything that happened with the crash and the bad publicity, etc., that some people still feel free enough to interpret the rules as they wish.
And that's a big issue, because what we're seeing here, it isn't the staff that are actually doing things wrong deliberately. There's a leadership failure in some of these organisations where the people at the top are not ensuring that their staff are properly trained and properly briefed about what they should be doing. And therefore that presents a risk, A, to the staff, B, to the organisation, and let's be honest, to everybody else who may be investing in it.
Right, but given those factors, one could say, well, hang on a minute, a company the size of Société Générale, 1.57 million, that's peanuts. You need something perhaps a bit more aggressive to really ram home the point that this flattered interpretation of the rules is not acceptable.
That's a very, very fair point. And had these breaches occurred in the United States, I suspect that the United States regulators would have been substantially harder on these institutions. And that's one thing we need to address. If you look at the total amount of money these institutions make, these fines are, to be perfectly blunt, petty cash.
Right, but do they have the power to actually impose a greater fine, coming with a tougher levy?
I think they could impose a greater fine if they wanted to.
But why not do it, though, to actually ram home that point?
I think they're in a position where they're trying to ram it home as hard as they can. But previously, to some degree, they were slightly softer on these organisations. And now they're getting to a point where I think people are saying enough is enough. And the FSA feel bound to take harder action at every point in time they see a repeated offence.
Right, but the point is, very briefly, these things are still happening. So given the symbolism of this fine, how can the public feel reassured if the FSA is backing off from actually going in really hard?
I think as far as the public is concerned, what will happen will be, if this continues, whether it's the FSA or a subsequent regulator, the fines are going to get harder. And I suspect regulations or legislation will come forward that will give them the capacity to make them even tougher, hopefully.
Now, more bad news has emerged about the fragility of the recovery in the US economy.